I'm serious. You do understand that. So you could have sex with someone 20 times and have sex with someone else 1 time, and that 1 time make a baby. I kind of like it, but I don't, because you all really do have a good rapport with one another. Like, you all probably could have had a nice relationship, but I feel like this mutual admiration can be dangerous in the way that you testify. The truth is what you said has been proven in this court. You are not her biological father, but this is not the time.
Today, we have the case of Smith versus Lewis. Brittany Smith is here to prove that Mr. Lewis is her biological father. She's tired of his back and forth and wants closure once and for all. Let's see how they got into this situation in the first place.
You walked in and she was in bed with your uncle.
Man, she's not my daughter, period. She's not mine.
In the case of Smith versus Lewis, you had a part to play in this.
Brittany claims that Mr. Lewis has been denying her all her life. She's hurt because he never signed her birth certificate. But hold on, folks. Mr. Lewis has a different story to tell. He says that he and Brittany's mother had a hit it and quit it thing going on. Yep, you heard that right. A hit it and quit it thing.
I hope today's results will prove what you already know. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lewis, you claim that years of doubt have caused you to question paternity, and unfortunately, you don't believe that Brittany is your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
This case is turning into a roller coaster of emotions. Apparently, Mr. Lewis was more involved in Brittany's life than he was letting on. He met Brittany when she was still a few weeks old. Nad took her back to his place. He was in her life for 10 years on and off. She even called him daddy.
So, Brittany, I want to understand from you, growing up, were you told your whole life that Mr. Lewis was your biological father?
Yes.
Tell me, what were you told?
My mother always told me that he was my father. She had no denial of him not being a father. She hasn't messed with nobody else. And I just feel like
She was the neighborhood bro.
Now, things take a wild turn when Mr. Lewis reveals a photo of a man he claims is Brittany's biological father. And guess what? It's his own great-great-uncle. Talk about a family affair. Mr. Lewis caught them in the act, and that's when he started having doubts.
If in fact you truly believe you are not Miss Smith's biological father, and she's asking you over and over again to get a test, if you're that sure, why not take the test so you can get the clarity? As you were avoiding the test.
Your Honor, I never avoided no test. You know who her father is?
Brittany is in tears. She's supported on the stand by her mother and Mr. Lewis's own daughter, Moesha. She has been waiting 25 years for this moment. That's a long time to live with doubt and uncertainty. It's hard not to root for her on her journey to find out who her real dad is. But only one thing can give her the clarity she so desperately needs: the DNA test results.
And just to be clear, you are Mr. Lewis's ex-wife.
Yes, I am. And I start, assuming that what he said, this was his daughter, so I took care of her for a long time.
Did he tell you when he brought you the baby, this is my daughter or this might be my daughter?
He said it was his daughter.
All right, folks, hey, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA test results are in. The envelope is in the judge's hands, and the courtroom is dead silent. Brittany is holding her breath, hoping for the answer she's been waiting for her entire life. Will Mr. Lewis be proven to be her biological father, or will another man, perhaps the great-great-uncle, be revealed as her daddy? Let's find out.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Bam!
God.
Tie down. That's her father right there. That's him right there.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
So Ms. Burks claims that her former boss got her pregnant and is now denying his responsibility. She's looking for some answers and financial support for her adorable 4-year-old daughter, Messiah.
Ms. Burks, you claim your former boss got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 4-year-old daughter, Messiah, leaving you in financial distress. You claim today's DNA test will prove that he is Messiah's father.
And now, let's welcome our second contestant, Mr. Smith. He's absolutely certain that he is not the father of Messiah and believes the truth will be revealed today. Oh boy, the tension is already building up. Who is going to come out on top in this paternity showdown?
So, Ms. Burks, how important are today's results for you and your family?
The situation is very, very important. It's so important that when I go back home, it might not be a possibility that I might not have a home for my daughter. So this situation is very, very important.
Ms. Burks claims that she and Mr. Smith had an on and off relationship for 2 years. But wait, Mr. Smith says it was just a one-time thing after a night of drinks. Who's telling the truth here? Let's dive deeper into this messy situation.
You were told that by the plaintiff. Ms. Burks, did you tell?
That's not true. And I never told him that he'd never be the father at all.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright, what would you like to add?
Okay, now this guy, he's telling the story. Like, this is the guy that she was with all the time. So, like, how could you just up and say that? Like, come on now. It looked just like him.
Ms. Burks' brother, Mr. Wright, joins us as a witness, and he's not holding back. He says they were together all the time, and even their co-workers assumed they were in a relationship. Talk about some office romance drama. Will Mr. Wright's testimony flip the script?
This was a one-time thing
It wasn't no one-time.
after work with an employee, after we all had a long day and we had some drinks.
Why such a discrepancy, though? She says it was ongoing for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
You say it was only one time.
Because for that 2-year span, when she was saying that was this supposedly relationship,
Mr. Smith tries to defend himself by saying that Ms. Burks told him the child wasn't his. The classic, "it's not mine" excuse. But Ms. Burks denies ever saying that to him. This case is turning into a he said, she said battle.
You're saying that she was elevating the stakes, that this was not what it was, that you
No.
were just co-workers, you had one night
Yes.
of indiscretion,
Yes, Your
and it
Honor.
was just that.
Your
Yes.
Honor,
But
Yes.
Ms.
If it
Burks,
was,
you say,
Your Honor, we didn't just have sex one time, Your Honor, and there go Messiah, and I didn't know who the father is. It wasn't never that. I was dealing with this man 1 or 2 years.
All right, folks, things are getting heated. Ms. Burks accuses Mr. Smith of lying, calling him a great liar. The tension between these two is palpable. But wait, there's more. Ms. Burks drops a bombshell, saying there's another potential father who's not in the picture. Will this mystery man make an appearance?
I will admit that I did not push to find out if the child was mine as much as I should have in hindsight. But this young lady came to me and told me at the time that this was not my child.
Mr. Smith steps up to the plate and claims that he has been a father figure to Mazia, even though he believed he wasn't the biological father. Wow, talk about a plot twist. He says he wants to be there for her, regardless of the DNA results.
so Messiah is now 4 years old. Have you developed any type of a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor. I've had Messiah in my home several times living with me.
Really?
Yes, because of Ms. Burks' inability to keep a safe environment for Messiah.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA results are in, and the tension is at an all-time high. Will Mr. Smith turn out to be the father he never thought he was? Will Ms. Burks finally get the answers she's been seeking? Let's find out.
Mr. Smith, you are not her father.
I'm sorry, excuse me. What?
You are not her father, sir.
I've grown to love this young lady. I'm still gonna help take care of Messiah.
In this episode, we meet Ms. Lohman, a hopeful mother who is desperately seeking confirmation that her fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the father of her adorable daughter, London. Their eventual marriage is already in jeopardy, and there's a lot at stake here.
You all starting to have doubts.
There was more than one person that was being slept with at the same time. We don't know who the father is. Mr. Mitchell has extremely long, thick eyelashes, and my daughter London does as well.
Ms. Lohman spills the beans on how her friendship with Mr. Mitchell turned into something more. It all started with a forbidden underwater kiss. But there's a twist, folks. She had a boyfriend at the time.
Fiancé Mr. Mitchell is the biological father of your daughter, London, and you and your mother are here to prove it. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your family together. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your seats because things are about to get even juicier. Ms. Lohman confesses that she continued her secret rendezvous with Mr. Mitchell, even though she was still in a relationship with her unsuspecting boyfriend.
So at that point, Mr. Mitchell was just your friend.
Yes, Your Honor. About a week after that, we were in the pool and we were swimming under the water, and he kissed me under the water, and I came up, and I didn't stop it. I let it continue, and we ended up having sex.
All right. And so, Mr. Mitchell, do you remember when your feelings for Ms. Lohman changed from friends to more?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fast forward to the bombshell news of Ms. Lohman's pregnancy. She drops the bomb on Mr. Mitchell, revealing that there's a possibility he could be the father. Cue the gasps. But wait, there's more. Her ex-boyfriend also believes he's the father.
When you found that out, what were you thinking?
I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if it was mine or his.
At that point, were you all dating now, you and Ms. Lohman?
Yes, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. But we were not dating at the time I told him there was a possibility. I was still with my ex at the time.
Okay. And so this ex believed this is my child.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Ms. Lohman starts comparing features of the baby with Mr. Mitchell. She's convinced that the baby's blue eyes and long lashes are a dead giveaway. But hold up, that's not how science works.
You do understand that it is not a numbers game.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't mean it to be funny. I'm serious. You do
Yes, Your
understand
Honor.
that. So you could have sex with someone 20 times and have sex with someone else one time, and that one time make a baby.
Enter Mr. Mitchell, who has been there for the baby since day one. He's formed a beautiful bond with little London and is hoping against hope that he's her biological father.
Everything pointed to Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you tell him?
We were sitting at home and I told him, I was like, there is a possibility that London could be yours, and because I looked at the dates. And then after she was born, I was like, Mr. Mitchell, she looks just like you. I was like, she has your eyes, the same exact eye color.
But just because she has blue eyes and blonde hair doesn't mean she's mine. He had
Yes,
the
but
same.
my ex had light blue eyes. Jonathan has dark blue eyes. London has dark blue eyes.
But wait, there's a cousin in the mix. Ms. Lohman's cousin, Ms. Pummel, is worried that she's taking advantage of Mr. Mitchell's love for the baby. Will this family be torn apart by the paternity mystery?
He has become so attached to this baby, and he has treated her as if he's known all along that she is his. The doubts are there, and it is better for him to know now. It's better for everybody, especially London, to know now if he is in fact for certain her father or if he's not, because if it goes on for much longer, I feel like it will be more traumatic for everybody involved to find out later that he is not the father.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DNA results! Will Mr. Mitchell be the father he's always hoped to be? Or will this love story come crashing down? Get ready for the truth bomb, folks.
Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father.
All right, folks, we have a case between Mr. Pitchford Kendricks and Ms. Saavedra. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks is here to prove that he is the biological father of Ms. Saavedra's 2-month-old son, Javier. But hold on tight, because this case gives a whole new definition for the term family affair.
I contacted Maurice.
He called me trying to act like, man, these old babies over here.
I found out that they had been having sex behind my back for years. I don't think her son is mine.
Yeah, I did it when I messed up and ended up sleeping with Greg, but I didn't know what else to do at that point.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks and Ms. Saavedra met through a mutual friend, and things got hot and heavy pretty quickly. But what makes this case unique is that they decided to spice things up by inviting Mr. Pitchford Kendricks' cousin, Maurice, into their bedroom. Yep, you heard that right, folks. Family threesomes.
You claim she is denying paternity only because she wants to be with another man and needs him to be the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Saavedra, you admit you allowed 2 men into your bed at the same time, but you are convinced that Mr. Pitchford Kendricks is not Javier's biological father.
Now, just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, Ms. Saavedra drops a bombshell. She reveals that she also had a child with Maurice, Mr. Pitchford Kendricks' cousin. That means her older child and the baby in question could potentially be siblings and cousins at the same time. Talk about a complicated family tree.
I can't let my kids grow up like that.
And so you intend to break that cycle today.
Yes, Your Honor.
But Ms. Saavedra, you say, unfortunately, Mr. Kendricks, you don't believe he's the biological father?
No, Your Honor, I do not. It started like this. Greg met each other through, he was dating a roommate of mine. And he came over one day. We did end up hitting it off, and we was cool. Ended up having sex.
With this tangled web of relationships, it's no wonder that Mr. Pitchford Kendricks is questioning Javier's paternity. He grew up without a father and wants to break that cycle for his own child. But Ms. Saavedra is adamant that he is not the father, claiming that she conceived during a time when they weren't intimate.
You were dating a woman, you ended up sleeping with her roommate. Then you developed a friendship with that roommate, and then she asked you to introduce her to somebody, so you introduced her to your cousin.
As the court proceedings unfold, we can see the emotional toll this situation has taken on both parties. Mr. Pitchford Kendricks desperately wants to be the father he never had, while Ms. Saavedra is torn between her desire for a stable family and the complicated history she shares with Maurice.
Within the threesome or alone?
Yeah.
That's
yes,
not
Your Honor. And I
Not with the first one, no. It was
Yes,
months
Lord,
prior.
Your Honor.
Months prior. It was not around that same time.
So now there's a question about Javier's paternity
Yes, Your Honor.
because of this night and the other threesome episodes.
Yes.
All right, folks, it's time to reveal the moment of truth. The DNA test results are in, and tensions are high in the courtroom. Will Mr. Pitchford Kendricks finally get the confirmation he's been waiting for, or will he be left devastated? Let's find out.
Mr. Pitchford Kendricks, you are not the father. I can see that really disappointed you. You thought you were.
You know, I tried to step up to the plate, you know, because I ain't have a father.
You sitting over here with this beautiful basket, and it seems like...
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to her anyway.
Thank
Mr. Williams is convinced that he is the father of Quenisha, even though Miss Wynn, the defendant, claims he is not. From the moment Mr. Williams laid eyes on Quenisha, he just knew she was his daughter. He believed that her fair skin was a dead giveaway. But Miss Wynn, on the other hand, says that skin color means nothing, and that she has always known who Quenisha's real father is.
He's not her father, Your Honor.
It was the first time I saw her. You know, she looked like me, fair skin, and I just knew she was my daughter.
And so for 35 years, you've been saying, this is my daughter.
Yes.
That still don't prove he's the father.
No, it doesn't.
Well, who is my daddy?
Now let's talk about their relationship. According to Mr. Williams, they were just close friends who messed around for about 4 or 5 months. But get this, Miss Wynn claims she doesn't remember any of it. Can you believe that? She doesn't remember sleeping with him or even walking past his store to get his attention.
You hope today's results prove what you have known for 35 years. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wynn, you claim that you have never given the plaintiff a reason to believe he is your daughter Quenisha's father. In fact, you say you have always known who her dad is. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But Mr. Williams is adamant that Quenisha is his daughter. He even took her to meet his mom and asked her if she looked like him. She confirmed that Quenisha was indeed his baby. But was that motherly support or motherly intuition at work?
Because he light-skinned and she light-skinned, the other guy is dark-skinned, I'm dark-skinned. That don't prove that he's her father.
It sure doesn't.
I know who's her father.
What's
And
different when you got...
It's not Stanley.
Well,
Your
he
Honor.
seems pretty certain that it is, and I would like to hear his testimony. I want to start with the nature of your relationship.
But Miss Wynn is not convinced. She argues that Mr. Williams could have taken a DNA test years ago when he used to take Quenisha to his house. She questions why he waited 35 years to do it now.
So, Miss Wynn, how do you remember your relationship with Mr. Williams? Can you take me back?
I don't remember.
Wait, what?
I don't remember. I don't remember at all. If he said it happened, it must have happened. I don't remember.
So it is your testimony you do not remember having sexual relations with Mr. Williams?
No, Your Honor. I do not remember.
Now let's hear from Quenisha herself. She grew up thinking that the man who signed her birth certificate was her father, but they had no connection whatsoever. In fact, she only saw him twice in her entire life.
No, walking past the store doesn't prove he's the father. You're correct. I'm trying to get to, do you remember him asking you on a date or meeting up with him later?
Your Honor, I don't remember none of it. And if Stanley knew he was to feel that he was a father, he could have been did this test. He used to come get her, take her over to his house. He could have did it then.
Quenisha reveals that she always felt like there was a piece missing in her life. She wanted siblings and a connection with her father. Growing up without that bond is heartbreaking.
I don't remember how old she was, but yeah, that's one of the photos.
Well, Your Honor, he should have tested her when he had her when she was over his house like that. When she was 3 years old, he should have tested her. Why wait 35 years to do this? And I don't understand why Mr. Stanley brought me all the way here to get a DNA test.
But here's where things get really interesting. After 20 years of no contact, Mr. Williams reaches out to Quenisha through social media. He asks her to ask a family member who he is, and they confirm that he could be her father.
So, Mr. Williams, back in the day, like when this picture was taken, were you running around saying, here's my daughter, Quenisha?
Yeah, that's how I addressed her. When anybody asked me about her, I'll say this is my daughter.
Was anybody else saying this is my daughter?
It was one situation where I went over to her house and her and the guy, who's supposed to be her dad, was sitting on the porch.
At this point, emotions are running high. Quenisha's mom, Miss Wynn, admits that she should have been honest with her daughter from the beginning. She acknowledges that there's always been a piece missing and that it's her fault for not knowing who Quenisha's father really is.
Oh, that other man. How did you know that?
Because we look nothing alike. There's no connection there.
So, Mr. Williams, can you tell the court, describe for the court the experience reconnecting with Quenisha after 20 years? What happened?
Now, the only thing we talked about is just getting a DNA test and, just to make it official.
Now, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and everyone is on the edge of their seats. Will Mr. Williams finally get the closure he's been seeking for 35 years? Will Quenisha find out who her real father is? It's time to find out.
Mr. Williams, you are not the father. I'm sorry I could not give you the closure you needed. Ms. Wynn, Can you remember, identify, think about any other person you may have been dating at that time?
It's the man that signed her birth certificate.